Alright, we are back with the last few parts with the XXXTENTACION Look at Me documentary. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me and watching it with me. And we're about to watch this last few parts. Let's go.
I got a call from a well-known psychologist by the name of Dr. Michael Brennan. The judge decided that I was going to work with him. The judge pointed at me and says, everywhere you go, he's got to go. You got to go. He can't go anywhere without you. Well, the first day, it was people in here galore. I didn't want to go right then and there in a sit-down face-to-face because from a cultural kind of background, the connotations of therapy and counseling perception is what goes along with that. I'm crazy, I'm loco, and I ain't crazy. As a matter of fact, he mentioned that, ain't nothing wrong with me, I ain't crazy. I said, man, let's walk, let's just walk. Man, I got problems like anybody else. I said, look, I'm here, man, to treat you like a human being. It's about your life, man. It's a bigger picture to me. I'm concerned about you. And he looked like that, pointed at me, he's like, straight.
I do not at all want any
Guy was rule based. He was like, yo, you gotta clean this shit up. Way too many people in and out of your house, bro. You can't control what these people are gonna do. Something bad is gonna happen. Yo, you know what? You can't have all these women in your house. It's gonna lead to something. You just pick one and call it a day. He picked Jen.
Before me and Ja ever dated, we're not two people that were looking for anything at all. He actually wanted me to be his assistant. Ja always saw me as this very nurturing.
I was about to say former girlfriend, but I guess, they're not technically still together because, what happened.
Caring person, and he felt very safe when he was with me, and I did too. So he just kind of said, you're my girlfriend now, and if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be, but if you want to, I would love for you to be. I'm like, okay, I can be your rock, you could be mine. I will say there were some days I felt like I was definitely walking on shards of glass because you didn't know what you were gonna get.
We would have sessions. We would just sit down and talk and laugh, whatever his pain or whatever he was going through, whatever he wanted to talk to me about, personal, family kind of stuff. And I recognized then that this was a traumatized human being, unable to grieve. And he had to play out the macho. He's 5'2". He's going to play out this macho, the rap, the hip hop,
5'2".
and all this. He ain't chance. And he's dealing with an enormous amount of
He's that
emotion
short?
and a lot of stuff. I never could be his biological father,
right.
and that was not my role. But if anything, that I could be there and that I didn't want money from him, it was about him, just as a human being that deserved the dignity and the respect.
She won't woohoo me, just like a song.
He's 5'6".
Like a blunt, right on my dick like a blunt. Her booty bit like a pimple, pot that pussy like a pimple.
I know this from what Cleo and Solomon and everyone told me. It's like when I was around making music with him, that's when he was happy. I realized that the process of making music and being able to put his mind on something was what allowed him to free his mind off of all the other places that it was going.
That's scary, bro.
Bro, do y'all know how he was still big? Do y'all know how big X would have been today? Him and Juice would have been up there, bro. Past Drake. That's how big it would have been.
Bro, once you learn how to use your vocal range, you can do some crazy shit.
He was putting down big
R.I.P.
records,
P&B Rock
big
too.
records, and it was exciting to watch.
This damage and the way I feel can't manage.
He was on house arrest, and going to the studio and having to be home at a certain time became an issue. And so we decided to knock out the closets and build a studio in home for him. Whenever he gets into the mood, it's right there.
It was
X. I remember like there was a day in early January that he was asking me if I had any beats, and I said, yeah, I have beats from this person and that person and this producer and that producer, and he said, no, you. And so I reached over and kind of logged into my Box account on his computer, and before I could click on anything, because I was so nervous, I was trying to figure out what to play him, he clicked on something called Sad Banjo, which turned out to be the beat for Sad. You want me to mute that sound, or you like it?
I like it.
Okay. And in maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, he wrote that whole song.
Someone that's afraid to let go.
Oh, that's nice. That's dope.
You
Yeah.
decide.
Who am I? Yeah.
Who am I?
Someone that's afraid to let go.
You decide.
Really was like 2 or 3 weeks after his death. That's crazy.
People like it doesn't attract anything that you truly want. I've started to look at myself very differently, beat myself up, and you guys are the only thing that gives me hope. You guys are the only things that thing that motivates me to ideally like, yo, be strong. You have over 8 million kids or adults and teenagers watching you, relying on you for this hope.
Jesse was becoming more patient. He was more positive versus being so angry all the time. You can reason with him because he was able to reason with himself.
When a nigga would just usually freak out and trip out, you would see him go into a corner and do breathing exercises. You feel me? Keep his eyes closed, meditate, even if it's for like a little 10 minutes, then come back and address the situation.
One day I get home and I'm like, something doesn't feel right. Literally the next day I took a pregnancy test, and sure enough, I find out that I'm
Crying,
pregnant.
bro.
John had like 30 phones. It was so ridiculous. So I'm like sending the picture to all these phones because I couldn't get a hold of him. Turns out he was at the gym training. Finally, when I got a hold of Jaw, he was super excited. Like, he was like, no way.
Family and success.
It's like Bro. Oh god. My bad, y'all. Like, this death, bro, it literally, like, hurted me so bad. Like, I didn't know how to feel, bro. Like, and now it's, like, getting me emotional and stuff. Oh, man. That's...
I almost felt like he knew how to relate to kids more than he did other people. And he saw this emotional phenomenon in children, that they were pure and unable to judge and unable to have hatred in their heart. And he loved that so much that the idea of having a kid of his own and being able to instill this sense of acceptance and lovingness and positivity within this kid would have been his proudest moment.
And at one incident, I had took him to Nobu. It was his first time eating at a fancy restaurant. And they pulled up, and we were sitting down eating, and he was fucking around with the chopsticks. And we were just sitting there, and we started talking about kids. And he was like, "You're gonna be a great dad." I said, "You're gonna be a great dad too someday, bro." He said, "No, I'm not." So, "What do you mean?" And he just looked me dead in the eye, and he was like, "I'm not gonna make it past 21. And then just went right back to fucking with the chopsticks. Like he hadn't said a thing.
He always spoke about death and was fascinated with it, I think, since he was about 15. It's almost as if he was preparing me that he wasn't going to be here. His lawyers called and told me that they were coming to pick Ja up Tuesday. I had the
20
worst
years,
anxiety.
bro? 20 freaking years in prison. 2 days before he died, he was gonna have to turn himself in for 20 years. That's crazy.
Ever. I went to the studio and he was working on his first beat. And he was so proud.
Don't you start crying, bro. You about to make me start crying again.
And I was so proud because I was like, yo, where did you come from? How did you even learn to do these things, you know? He spoke about possibly running. And I was like, Ja, where are you gonna go? You have blue hair with tats all over your face. You're not exactly gonna blend in with the crowd. And he was like, I don't understand what's happening or why. And I said, kid, you're powerful. I said, I've watched you control your crowd and your audience. I said, that's dangerous to the status quo. He got up from around the table and he said, to whom much is given, much is required. And then he said, I'm gonna go buy a bike. And I was like, what? Why? Because at the time he had about 3 bikes in the garage and then some other ones at his other house that he doesn't even ride them. But I knew my son. I knew it was because he was so worried. He was so scared. Typically, I'd be like arguing with him about those type of things if it doesn't make sense. But I knew what that was. And so I was like, okay, let me get security together for you. And he was like, nah, they're going to take too long. I called Jazz's brother, which is Aiden's dad. I called him and I was like, hey, Ja wants to go pick up this bike. I'm gonna need you to drive his car back in the event that he does get the bike. And I said, no matter what he says, don't leave his side.
So I took a different path. In the distance, he away to me. Had no weapon, I'm guessing his hands were just enough for me. There's no question, I'm guessing he laughed, shot the side of me.
Right. So, like, we have some, like, evil freaking people in this world. And they always, like, take us away. And it be your own kind, bro. Your own black people killing black people, bro. When is it gonna stop? When are we gonna stop killing each other? Like, do y'all not understand? Do they not understand? Like, we're killing each other over money, bro. Like, you got an opportunity to go out there and get it yourself, but you wanna kill somebody that was trying to get better, trying to, like, improve himself, bro. And now he doesn't get to get a chance to see his child grow up.
Every 30 minutes, his frequency distorted quick, I seen it in his image. I should've won my fucking nail.
When I got the call, yeah, I just collapsed to the floor.
Bro, I think X got shot, bro. I think X got shot, bro. I think X got shot, bro. I think X got shot.
I'm like, they did what? Hey, what do you mean they shot Justin?
I remember not having any gas, not wanting to stop, trying to get to where he was, and it's all a blur.
And I just remember like calling Cleo, like, Cleo, where are you? She's like, I'm lost. She like literally didn't know where she was. And I'm like, bro, you gotta get somewhere. We're at the hospital. She's like, I'm trying to get there. She's like, I don't know where I'm at.
I was like disoriented. I got there was a few people there already. I'm not sure how they found out. And I was just in there for mad long, pacing back and forth. I wasn't able to go back there. They gave me some bullshit story about them not wanting me to see him like that because it would traumatize me. But I think that I should have made that decision of seeing my son.
And then it's like that calm, it was like a calm that set in because it's like, all right, it's Jassé. It's already like, he's a fighter. He's a fighter. Jassé's gonna make it through. If nobody's gonna make it through, it's gonna be him.
The cops came out and they pulled me in a room. And I remember the officer was just so callous when he delivered. He was just like, oh, Jassé expired today at such and such time.
I still don't understand what he means by expired.
That shit just seemed like watching a movie or something. I don't know. I'll never come to terms with it.
It went from that to just planning a funeral. I remember Cleo walking in the room and saying, how do we plan a funeral? How do I plan a funeral for my son?
Long live X, man. Oh, my bad, I hit the mic.
Before I lay me down to sleep, pray.
20 years of age, bro. Kekin was born 8 months after he died.
Oh no, that's not a toy. That's not a toy.
His son isn't old enough to carry on his legacy. There's nobody that can do it. So I have to not only be here for my other son, I have to be here to maintain his legacy as well as look out for my grandson. Ja was my practice baby. I was 17 years old. There's nobody teaching me how to take care of a child. I just had to kind of figure it out. Ja kind of changed my mindset from hammering, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, because you will lose your child doing that. You have to allow them to be themselves.
After Jose died, Cleo reached out to me like a year later. So she calls me, and before I answer the phone, I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know if this is gonna be bad or good. I was like alleviated, but really nervous.
You know, this is, my son's no longer here, and I feel like it's up to me now to make amends for any mistakes that he's done and try to right his wrongs as much as I can. I would actually like to hear you tell your story because, like I said, my son died and he's never admitted it to me. I don't think he would want me to see him in that light or know those things, that side of him. You know, just say was wrong for what he did. You know, there's no excuse for that, period. You know, but I just want the world to know that he wasn't that same person anymore, and that whether it's the past is still a part of his story.
Now, Cleo and I are cool. It makes me feel like a weight is lifted, basically, because like I felt like I wasn't accepted by the whole family the whole time.
I'm not gonna hate her, and my son's not here, and I don't think she should be mistreated in any way. This is about his legacy, and she is the love of his life, and she was a part of that legacy.
People have like asked me for advice, and I just feel bad sometimes because like I don't know how I feel about telling other people what to do or like how to feel about that, because I feel like it's just different with every person.
It's crazy to think that really and truly that at the end of the story, that Jose's legacy is gonna really help so many fucking lives. It's so hard to explain, but this dude turned everything around for the better.
He sent out a parachute with his name on it. I think he wanted to talk about suicide and those types of things to help somebody. Really, he wanted to save somebody.
It could go a lot of ways for me, but I just know that I have to make Jose proud. I have to, because I know I'm gonna see him again in some cosmic plan. Some cosmic plan, I'm gonna see Ja again, and that's what I live my life based off of.
That's 1.8 million.
When I think about it, my eyes fill up with water. Don't have a ironic lava.
I think this now can picture Jesse these kids still race now. Man.
When I first found out about X, I was going through a very rough patch in my life. His music was able to just help me realize that no matter what I'm going through, there's always somebody out there who feels the same way and has the same emotions that I'm feeling.
I looked at him as a mentor. I would hit him up for advice in high school. Like, I would hit him up for advice if I was going through something, and he was always there, literally. He was always there.
Right, everybody wants to be acknowledged, you know. And, you know, you get the occasional thank you for the deal and nice, whatever. But, you know, our first deal, which was a 7-figure deal, he called me up and said, "Thank you, you're the reason my life has changed." And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. No one's ever said that before.
My favorite memory of Jose was when it was me, my homie Vinny Changos, Ski, and Ja. And like we played his music on the radio, and like he like stood up in the middle of the car, like put his like ear mad close to like to the speaker and was like, "Yo, is this me? Like, is this me right now?" And I'm like, "Bro, this is you." And then for like literally the rest of the night, I kid you not, he just screamed, "This is me! This is me! This is me!" for the whole night.
So he's in the studio doing this thing. I hit record. He didn't even know I hit record. So I hit record, and he's there doing his little thing. So he's like, "All right, I'm ready now." So I just start playing back what he just did. And we're like, whoa, you was recording? I'm like, "Yeah." You were like, "Shit, I like that shit. Keep playing this." I'm like, "All right."
You never turned this into a song, but it was always one of those moments that kind of stuck with me.
I just wanna show the world that I can amount to something better.
Such a young talent, bro. Gone too soon. Just because of a Louis bag and a chain, bro. Robbed by black people. Shot and killed by black people. And now he doesn't get to see his son. Like, I normally don't cry, bro. And this like had me like teared up, bro. Like, I actually cried. And that's why my voice is still like breaking up, bro. But if you guys liked my reaction to these type of videos and want me to do more, just let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.